think virtually every one of us has been touched by profound technological transformation in our lifetime. And one of the most significant has been the evolution of the Web 2.0 world, largely because of what it's done in terms of our human connections and our human relationships. When you learn the lessons that you'll hear today from Jensine and from Matt, you'll see that not only have they carved out and defined online pathways to social change, they may be showing us that in fact those online pathways are the fastest way to get there.
Essentially, World Pulse, we are a global media and communications network devoted to bringing women a global voice. And we're using interactive technology. Yes, we publish a print magazine and an online magazine, but we've linked it to a global Web 2.0 women's newswire, where women are now speaking out on the ground from over 150 countries. And that includes women who are just beginning to come online from rural villages using internet cafes or cell phones. In every single cell of my body, I believe that the greatest untapped resource in our world today is the creative human potential of women and girls. And I believe that we have a historical opportunity at this moment in time to harness the power of media and technology to truly unlock and accelerate that potential. I wanted to create something where these women could essentially be their own messengers. And today, really the world is beginning to catch up to this idea. And what you'll find is that whether it's the IMF, whether it's the World Bank, whether it's the Dalai Lama, whether it's Oprah, they're all coming to a consensus that investing and empowering in women is one of the fastest ways to solve global problems.
I co-founded Kiva.org in 2004, and basically what Kiva is an online platform for lending to low-income entrepreneurs all over the world. People are borrowing money in 53 countries and lending money in over 100 countries. Typically, a lender lends about $50 and gets paid back that $50 in the course of a year. We're doing about $6 million in loans every month, and we're trying to grow that parabolically so we get to $1 billion in the next 5 years. We have about 600,000 users, so that's another important attribute of how we measure impact. To borrowers, we have about 300,000. The borrowers on our site, by and large, don't have bank accounts, and that's sort of definitional to microfinance, is that the people don't really have a bank account, and so they also don't really have computers. And so you're going out into pretty rural areas outside of Nairobi with this printout of a website, and you're saying, did you know your loan that's coming to you really inexpensively is funded by people all over the world? That makes sense. Okay, but how's the money really getting there? How does that really work? Well, we're using computers. Well, these people have never seen a computer. So then you have to explain what a computer is. It gets you into a pretty lengthy educational discussion about the definition of a computer. And then you're like, and then that's connected to the internet, and you're using PayPal. And so PayPal is a Silicon Valley-based, money transfer company. So it gets kind of complicated, right? And but they get the core concept of an exchange between people is very easily understood.
Many of these women who have never before used a social network, just coming online, never been fully had their voices validated. We are seeing things like women from Uganda are connecting with women from San Francisco and starting solar power projects. Women are flying from Spain and flying from Canada into rural Kenya, and they're starting mobile medical clinics. What we needed to do was focus on these very motivated grassroots women leaders who were finding ways, literally taking 4 hours to walk to that internet cafe, taking a loan out to buy a generator or a loan for a laptop, a year loan to actually have that access. And those were the women who were motivated and wanting to empower their community. And what we ended up doing is creating a Web 2.0 women citizen journalism and empowerment training program for women from some of the most forgotten regions of the world, and training them on how to become voices for their communities and become agents of change. They came from the favelas of Brazil, where they're in the midst of gunfire, from the conflict zones of Kashmir, from Sudan. And today, after they went through this program, where we taught them how to do rapid response reporting from their cell phones, how to write op-ed stories, how to write feature stories, we're developing a 5-year plan to build a network of women citizen journalists and empowered leaders from every region of the world and link them into a very powerful force.
One thing that I think we've all done wrong in the online philanthropy space is we haven't emphasized the scarcity or the finitude of our problems. So poverty is actually a very finite problem. You can measure it and you can define it, and we can take steps to alleviate it and actually make an impact in that problem. Traditional charity websites, they give the sense of their problem as a big black hole, a big never-ending hole in which to place your money. So when you create scarcity around it, you really empower your users to feel like they are making a dent in whatever problem they are purchasing something. They can own something. They can own a chunk of the problem. And so that was a really interesting thing we stumbled on with making loans instead of donations, was that the loans was a fixed size. Users could buy part of that loan and then it would be gone. And so there was a sense of urgency. I have to buy this before someone else does. And our users were competing. And so for a large part of our history, our site's been sold out, or we have a chronic inventory shortage. And so you come to our site and you can't make a loan to anyone because it's good news, it's all sold out. As our users feel like, wow, we bought out the site today, we made a big impact on that. It'd be really wonderful if Kiva could figure out a way to make it personal and profitable. Kiva happens to be P2P and break even. And there's other websites that are not personal, like mutual funds, which are profitable to the user, but not personal. So if you could do both, I think there's a real opportunity to sort of break out, have a breakout success.
Time and Newsweek and The Economist, they've all said, forget India, forget China, forget even technology itself. It's women who are driving the global economy of the future as the status of women are increasing.
As you start your social networking, really put women as a central focus there, because women are the primary users of social networking at this point. They make over 52%, but also they are primary drivers of social change and also purchasers. We've been seeing some reports coming out of the microfinance industry that when the women who are participating are asked what made the biggest difference for you, they don't often cite it's the loan or the money, but it's the group. It's having that support network that made the biggest difference for me, changing my life. And so I think that giving our constituents a bit more credit and giving them the opportunity to actually speak to you and begin to dialogue is pretty powerful, because what I found is many of the women come on and say, this is my temple of freedom.
You know, I think if there's one really simple lesson that the two of you have really made clear, it's that when it comes to using social media, it's not about the media, it's about the social.